In this video we're going to go over subtraction with borrowing, so we'll do this page 1 here and then page 2. So page 1, let's start with 52 minus 37. Now see if you count on from 37, right? You would get 3 more is 40, right? And then 10 more is 50. So let me write this down as I'm doing it. So that would be 13. So like, you know, 37 plus 3 would be 40, and then plus 10 would be 50, and then plus 2 would be 52. So counting on from 37, we've got, you know, 3, 10, that's 13, and 2, 15, right? So the answer would be, you know, would be 15 here. The answer is 15. Now, so we know it's 15. Now subtraction with borrowing, just want you to think about it this way. Look, 50 plus 2 is what 52 is. 50 plus 2. And then of course we have 30 plus 7. Now we can't do 2 minus 7 because 7 is bigger. So what we have to do is borrow from the 50. Basically turn that into a 40 and bring the other 10. If I break 50, you see, break 50 into 40 plus 10. Okay, 40 plus 10 basically, and I bring a 10 over here, right? And so 10 and 2 is 12. So basically 50 is 50 plus 2, or 40 plus 12. 40 plus 12 is the same thing as 50, isn't it? I guess you could write it there too. So you can either write the 12 up here, or you could just put a 1 here and write it 12 here. Anyway, so you get 12 minus 7 is 5, and 40 minus 30 is 10. So we get 10 plus 5, 15, right? And of course what that looks like with borrowing is you go 2 minus 7 won't work, so I'm going to cross off the 5, turn that into a 4, borrow a 10 from the 50, you see, add it to 2, and 10 and 2 you see is 12, right? Now 12 minus 7 is 5, 4 minus 3 is 1, and so that's subtraction with borrowing. But it's good to write it out so we kind of see it. So like this one, 85 is 80 plus 5, 47 is 40 plus 7. Now again, 5 minus 7 isn't going to work, so we've got to borrow from the 80. Turn that into 70 plus 10 and bring a 10 over here. Now 10 and 5 is 15. So what I'm saying is 80 plus 5 is 85, but 70 and 15 is also 85. So I'm breaking the 85 into, turn it into 70 plus 15. Now 15, what's 15 minus 7? 15 minus 7? 8, right? 70 minus 40, 30. So I have 30 plus 8, or 38. And you know, doing it without having to break it down, like you would go, okay, 5 minus 7 won't work, so cross the 8 off and that becomes 7, add a 10 over here and we have 15. 15 minus 7 is 8. 7 minus 4 is 3, so the answer is 38. Okay, so how about 320 minus 150, right? Subtract these guys with borrowing. Well, let's see. We're going to, I want you to think of 320 as 300 plus 20, okay? And 150 is 100 plus 50, okay? And we're subtracting. Now, you know, okay, if we're doing it normally, 0 minus 0 is 0. 2 minus 5 doesn't work. So it's kind of like 20 minus 50 isn't going to work, alright? So what I need to do is borrow from the 300 to help me subtract the 50, right? So I can write this, look, 300, I'll write that as 200, and I'll add 100 over here. What's 100 plus 20? 120, right? So 320 can be written 200 plus 120, right? And now 120 minus 50, 70, and 200 minus 100, 100. So I have 100 plus 70, or 170, right? Now, the other way is just to put a 1 here, and now this looks like 120, right? See that? So of course the trick is, like, we can just, the same as always, 2 minus 5 won't work, so cross the 3 off, that becomes a 2, and add a 1 over here, and now you can think of it as a 12. Even though it is 120, you can just think of it as like, okay, 12 minus 5, you know? Even though it is in fact 120 minus 50, but what does that give? 7, right? And 2 minus 1 is 1. Yep. So how about this one? 817 minus 2, 46. Well, 7 minus 6 is 1. 1 minus 4 won't work, so what do we do? Got to cross the 8 off, and that becomes 7, right? And remainder, or I mean, you borrow a 1, so you've got 11 here, right? So what's 11 minus 4? Well, it is 7, and then you go 7 minus 2, 5, so 571, right? Let's have a look at page 2. We've got 824 minus 478. So 823 minus 478. So 3 minus 8 isn't going to happen, right? So I've got to borrow from the 2, and that becomes 1 now. And I bring a 10 over here, so the 3 turns into 13. Okay? So 13 minus 8? 5, right? Now, let's see. 1 minus 7 isn't going to work, right? So what do I do now? Borrow from the 8, right? That becomes 7, and I have to borrow a 1 or 100. So you can think of it this way. Look, this 1 becomes 11 because you're kind of borrowing a 10, but really it is 100. I mean, this is actually 110 here, funny enough. But you don't have to think about that, because you're just going, look, you know, borrow a 10, and that is, you can think of it as 11, and then 11 minus 7 is 4, and 7 minus 4 is 3. Okay, so let's do this one. Write this down. 2,451 minus 1,328. Write that down. You're ready to go? So we're going to go 1 minus 8 won't work. I've got to borrow, right? So you're going to borrow from here. So that becomes what? 4. And you're going to bring 1 over here. That becomes 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. And what's 4 minus 2? 4 minus 2 is 2. And then you go 4 minus 3. Do you need to borrow for that? No, that becomes 1. So sometimes you need to borrow, sometimes you don't, right? 2 minus 1 is 1, so we have 1,123. Okay, how about this guy? See if you can do this one by yourself. 5,342. Press pause if you need more time now. Minus 2,845. So press pause and do this one all by yourself and see if you've got the same answer. And by all means, with any of these videos, you can fast forward, or you can race me. Try and do all the examples faster than me, and then just check the video for your answers, right? So 2 minus 5 won't work, so I've got to borrow from here, and that becomes what? 3. And I bring a 1 over here, so that, or a 10 over here, so this is 12. So 12 minus 5 is 7. Now 3 minus 4, that's not going to work. I've got to borrow for this guy. So cross this one off, that becomes a 2, bring a 10 over, or 100 really, and this is 13. 13 tens really. So 13 minus 4 is 9. And now we try to do 2 minus 8. That's not going to work, so we've got to borrow from here. 4 and bring a 10 over, and so this is in fact 12. So 12 minus 8 is 4, right? And 4 minus 2 is 2. So 2,497. Let's have a look at this one. 700 minus 231. This is kind of funny. So let's write this down. 700 minus 231. Okay. So 0 minus 1 won't work. So I need to borrow from here somehow. But there's nothing to borrow from here. So I have to go over to here now and borrow. So whatever happens, I'm going to borrow from here. This becomes a 6, right? And if I bring 1 over here, that becomes a 10. But I needed to borrow for this guy. So this 10 basically gets crossed out and becomes a 9. So I can bring 1 over here so that this becomes a 10, right? So 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. And 6 minus 2 is 4, right? So how about this one? 100 minus 58. 100 minus 58. 0 minus 8 won't work. And then I've got to borrow from here, but 0 minus 5 won't work, so I need to borrow from here. So this becomes 1 less, which is 0. I bring a 1 over here, and that becomes 10. But I need to borrow for this guy, so I cross the 10 off, and that becomes 9, and bring a 1 over, bring the 1 over, and that becomes 10, right? So basically, your 100 turned into 90 plus 10. And in a sense, this so anyway, we'll go over it. So 10 minus 8 is 2, and 9 minus 5 is 4. The answer is 42. But on this one, you get 6, 9, and this was a 10. So this in fact became 600. Well, if I was to write it out, I have in fact 600 here. That's 600. That's in the 100 spot. There's a 9 in the 10 spot, so that's 90, and there's a 10 in the unit spot. So the 700 that we began with, see that, actually turns into 600, 90, and 10. 10 and 90 is 100, 100 and 600 is 700. See that? In this case, the 100 became no hundreds, 90 plus 10. You see, this became 10. So 90 plus 10 is the same thing as 100. See that? Okay, see if you can do this one by yourself. And I'll go through it slowly anyway. So I'm doing 2000 minus 459. I'm going to try to do 0 minus 9, which won't work. 0 minus 5 won't work either. This is here's another 0. So I have to go all the way to here to find something to borrow. So that's going to become 1. So I'm going to borrow 1, bring it over here. But I need to borrow all the way back to this guy, you see. So he crosses off and becomes a 9. And I got to bring 1 over here. Cross this 10 off, becomes 9, and bring 1 over here, right? So now I'm ready to go. 10 minus 9 is 1, 9 minus 5 is 4, 9 minus 4 is 5, 1 minus nothing is 1, right? So the 2000 in fact turned into 1000, which is here, right? This is 1000. This is 900 because this is in the 100 spot. This is 90, and this is 10. The 2000 became 1000 plus 900 plus 90 plus 10. What does that make when you add it all together? Add all that together, what does it make? Well, 10 and 90 is 100. 100 and 900 is 1000. 1000 and 1000 is 2000. So you split your 2000 up so that you could in fact subtract these digits, right?